Here's a long, emotional, engaging story written in plain paragraphs and paced for approximately 15-minute YouTube video based on your prompt. It begins with a strong hook, develops characters deeply, includes real challenges and resolutions, and ends with an inspiring message. He never thought one chance encounter could change his life forever, until the day it did. At 27 years old, Ryan Mitchell was living a life almost everyone would call successful from the outside: a stable job, a small but cozy apartment, and friends who cared about him. But on the inside, he felt like a ghost moving through someone else's story. Every morning, he woke to the same alarm, same commute, same monotonous tasks at work. He'd sit at his desk, staring at spreadsheets, wondering if this was all life had to offer, a question that weighed on him more heavily with each passing day. The pressure had started quietly but grew louder over the years. He had once dreamed of being an artist, of painting murals that made people stop and remember what beauty felt like. But bills needed to be paid, expectations needed to be met, and art was pushed aside for stability. His savings were small, his artistic tools gathered dust in the corner of his apartment. Friends who encouraged his passion had slowly drifted away, swallowed by their own responsibilities. Even Ryan's reflection looked tired, as though every year had stolen a little more of his spark. One crisp autumn afternoon, Ryan left work later than usual, his shoulders aching from hours at a desk. The sun was setting, painting the sky in bruised purples and deep golds, and for the first time in weeks something stirred in him. He wandered down a quieter route home, footsteps leading him almost unconsciously toward the city's art district. The murals there were bold and alive, splashes of color on cement that breathed. He stopped before one massive mural of a phoenix rising from ashes, and something inside him cracked open. For a long time, he simply stood there, letting the colors wash over him, feeling remembered by something bigger than deadlines or quiet desperation. That night, he opened the dusty portfolio he hadn't touched in years. His hands trembled as he leafed through sketches from his college days, drawings full of fire and hope, not the apathetic strokes of someone who had given up. Tears blurred the page, but they felt cleansing, as though each one washed away a bit of the weight he had been carrying. For the first time in a long time, he felt alive. Still, doubt crept in quickly. Who was he to think he could start again? The question swirled, but something in him whispered, try. Ryan began painting again, at first in the quiet hours after work, then in stolen weekends. His first mural back on a blank wall in his apartment building was rough but honest, a kaleidoscope of color that seemed to hum with life. Neighbors stopped to watch his progress, some offering calls of encouragement, others cup of coffee as he worked. Word spread that someone new was painting something extraordinary. People began to recognize him on the street, not as the quiet office worker but as the artist transforming his city block one wall at a time. The transformation wasn't instant, and it wasn't easy. Supplies were expensive, progress was slow, and Ryan often questioned if this new path was foolish, unstable, or even possible. One evening, after a long day of painting in near-freezing wind, Ryan packed up his brushes and turned to leave. That's when he noticed a small crowd gathered around the mural he had painted that week, an immense piece full of golden birds taking flight. He watched silently as strangers stood before it, wiping tears, smiling, whispering softly to one another. A woman beside him let out a shaky breath. This makes me feel something I haven't felt in a long time," she said. "Thank you." At that moment, Ryan felt something he hadn't felt in years, that his art mattered not because of success, but because it touched people's hearts. Months passed, and the murals continued to grow across the neighborhood. Each painting was an evolution of emotion, courage, and hope. Local shops commissioned walls, young artists began helping him, and a small but loyal following started attending his live painting sessions. He was still working his day job, waking early and sleeping late, caught between two lives. It was exhausting, but he no longer felt hollow. His heart was full in ways he didn't know were possible. Then came the invitation that changed everything. A renowned art gallery in the city reached out, asking Ryan to display a collection of his work. His palms shook when he held the email, disbelief and fear warring inside him. Could he stand among established artists? Could anyone care about his journey? The gallery director, a kind woman with warm eyes, sat with him over coffee and said, "Your work tells a story people long to hear. It's not just art, it's healing." The night of the gallery opening was nothing like Ryan had ever imagined. People from all walks of life filled the white walls with colorful pieces that once only existed at the edges of his doubt. Neighbors, friends, fellow artists, even strangers who had followed his murals came to support him. As he stood near his phoenix piece, the same symbol that had ignited his first spark, he felt a wave of gratitude and wonder. Every struggle, every late night, every insecurity had brought him here. A young girl approached him, shy and wide-eyed. "I want to be an artist too," she said, voice soft. "But I don't think I can." Ryan knelt to her level and smiled gently. "I didn't think I could either," he said. "But I did it one day at a time. You can too." Ryan's story wasn't about instant success. It was about rediscovering purpose, fighting through fear, and embracing vulnerability. It was about the courage to pursue a dream even when the world seemed to whisper no. What began as a dormant passion reignited into a life brimming with meaning, not because everything became easy, but because he chose to move forward anyway. And in the warmth of that gallery, surrounded by color, hope, and human connection, Ryan realized something profound: we are never truly lost until we stop searching. His life wasn't changed overnight. It was reshaped through small moments of bravery, connection, and faith. And in that transformation, he found not just success, but a reason to wake up every morning with purpose. Sometimes, the thing you think you lost was waiting for you all along, just beneath the surface, ready to be rediscovered. If you want, I can turn this into a YouTube narration script with timestamps and narration cues.